Hey Don, I was thinking you were telling me you were going over to take a class with Rudy, and this is your first time taking a class with a big school like that. So when I went to Arrowmont, I started to make a video, and I never did finish it, on what to take with you, and just to give you some pointers. And one day I'll put it up on the internet. But I thought I'd go ahead and make a quick version of it and set it up on YouTube and let you read it, because this weekend we would not understand each other, or would you have remembered it. So the thing that's important is that you need to prepare a little bit more. They give you a list usually, but that's not what you really need to take. It's just the minimum you need to take. There's a lot more you need to take if you want to have a good time, or you want to not be frustrated. All right. Yeah, you can say, they're going to give us everything. No. They will sell you everything. They're not going to give you everything. So if you run out of sandpaper or whatever else that you normally like to do, you're going to go into their shop and buy it, and you're going to pay primo price. You're not going to pay Amazon price, because you can't wait 2 days, because you need it right now. So this is kind of like a hint of what you might consider. You don't have to take everything. I actually overpacked, but it's just an indicator of what you might want to take with you when you go out to see Rudy. And you know, if you put it all in the back of your truck, lock it away, whatever, and you don't use it, it's much better than not having it. All right. So here is what my thoughts are. So what does one take to Arrowmont when one is taking a wood class? Well, this is some of the things that I brought with me, and I thought I'd share what I needed and what I didn't need. You actually could go to Arrowmont and not take anything, and they have everything, but their things are not as good as your things, so they're a tad crappy. Alright, so I brought my own center finder. They had one identical to it in the class, but you know what? There was like 12 in the class. I didn't have to stand in line. I had my own. I also brought my homemade center finders for circles, which both of these actually worked out better than that. And in fact, a lot of the turners came down to my bench to borrow that one, because it was just quicker and easier to find the center. And then I brought with me a parting tool, a thin parting tool. They had parting tools, but not that thin, so that was a handy one. I found the saw not to be so handy. They say you need a lock. We didn't need a lock. A couple of razor blades. This is my favorite. It was very nice to have with you. Some pencils and pens to write on stuff, whatever, parts, whatever. Measuring, they have these, but I had my own, so I brought that with me. That was very handy. Even though they have some tools that do the same thing, but setting up tenants and stuff like that, that was very, very handy. I was glad I brought that with me. Scratch-alls, I brought my scratch-alls with me, and that worked out very good. This was a very nice tool to have with me. This is the Wood Wonders file card, or one of them, I should say, Ken Rizzo's products, and it was worth its weight in gold. I didn't have to go back to the sharpening station as many times. It was just a matter of honing things up. And then an 18-inch ruler was fairly good too. So I brought a pair of scissors and some paper towels, white paper towels. They had blue, but I found the whites better, especially for doing finishing. I brought some of my own, as my grandson calls it, Gita butter, which is really a paste that I made up for sanding and for high grit sanding. Some tape was very good. A brush, a little one, really was kind of nice for getting things off the lathe. A chisel and was nice to have, so when you could do a little bit of chiseling work to cut some stuff off. I did bring my depth finder. This is my homemade depth finder, by the way, and I used it a couple of times, but not real many. We were just doing some bowls, and I really only needed them to get some depth, and you could have done the same thing with some other tools. Sanding wise, that came in pretty good. This is just a piece of wood that I had on a project, and it's in a diamond shape, and I put a little sandpaper. But what's really good about it is being able to get into little cracks and crevices with your other sandpaper. And then I brought my own epoxy. They had their epoxy there, yeah, but I had my own again. I didn't have to stand in line with mine. A couple of sticks for mixing. Denatured alcohol, I brought a little bit of that one. I was trying to figure out how to bring it, because I didn't want to bring it in a plastic jar, and you know what? That works perfectly, because it's made for alcohol. And then flasks are good. And then a tape measure, and I brought some carbide tip replacements. And this is my sanding pad that I use for putting paper on. You just put paper on the end of it and sand it. And then I brought some little rubber pads for actually for wrapping around jaws, so I wouldn't do as much damage to stuff. They had other ways around it. Most of their stuff was centers, but I found that to be helpful. I brought my own face shield. I like that one better than the ones they had there. These are the type that they had there, which are pretty safe, but they're very hard to wear. I don't like those as much as I do my own version. And then I brought my RZ mask for dust. There was like 12 or 14 of us in the shop, and a lot of dust going around there, so that was very useful. I brought a schmuck with me to cover up that I bought before I came, but when I got there, I found out that they sell schmucks in the supply shop, if you will, and this is what they sell today. It's a pretty nice one. It was $65, and it became my souvenir for Arrowmont, or one of my souvenirs for Arrowmont, because that was a really great trip. So I brought an assortment of sanding papers and CA glue and a little bit of bull linseed oil. Put them in this neat little thing that's carried in the back. Ooh, there they go. So if you can see from the video, the sandpaper thing, I didn't quite finish that one. But what I really did was I just got as much of my sandpaper as I could, CA, any of the finished stuff that I wanted. And then if you look, there's it's a 5-gallon bucket, but it's square. I got it at Lowe's. I love that thing. And I just stuffed everything in there, and then all I had to do was pick it up, carry it where I wanted, or not carry it where I wanted. And when I got to Arrowmont, I just carried it in and set it next to my lathe, put the lid on it, take the lid off, got my sandpaper out. I even put my cutter that I used to cut the sandpaper with, I put that in there as well. So it was kind of a neat thing to carry my stuff in. And then you saw the other box that I used to carry the rest of my tools in. So that's something to be thinking about or be planning towards. It'll make your trip a lot better. The other thing that I did is you'll notice that all my tools have like an orange tape on it, and I kind of learned that from watching some other guys do stuff. So when you're there, if you have your own tools, you want to really mark them well. So I found if I got some, that is electrician's tape that you get at the store. It's the plasticky stuff. It's like a couple bucks for a roll. Pick a color. If you notice, Rudy uses Superman tape, so don't use Superman tape. And you tape your tools that way. And then everything in my box, I took a Sharpie and put my name on it, or my initials on it, or in my case I put my symbol on it so I knew what I had. So that's kind of a good prep thing. That's why I said, and I never took them off because I don't turn with a tape, and it's on there, it doesn't bother. I even put tape on my face shield so I know which one was mine. All right? So I hope this helps you out. You have a good time. I know you will. Rudy's a great teacher, and a week's worth of turning is like phenomenal. You'll come back, you'll be the ace of ace, dude. All right? Have fun.